still working with Rick and with the toe and that. So we utilize this as more of a passing camp. We don't run the ball much in this thing. So it's good that way. And his toe's really done well.
Let's go next to Pete Sweeney. Go ahead, Pete.
Coach, Travis was on ESPN's NFL Live earlier this week, and he noted just how much bigger already the offensive line feels. How much of an intention was it for you guys to get even a little taller there, a little bit bigger along the offensive line, and then just your initial impressions here? I know it's just the first 3 days.
Yeah, so it's been good for that, but the main thing you want are good football players, and we've got a whole group of them now, and it's great competition. I mean, those guys last year battled their tail off, and I'm glad we have a few of those guys back. So, and then Brett and his crew did a nice job with the influx of players, young and veteran guys. So we've got a nice nucleus. There's going to be great competition there, and that's going to make us better. And like I mentioned before, we really hadn't, most of the emphasis has gone to other positions, and we were able to kind of put this is a priority to get things done there. And I thought Brett and his group did a phenomenal job of working it. Yeah.
Next to Matt McMullen. Go ahead, Matt.
Hey, Coach, you mentioned before how much you enjoyed just being a teacher out there as a coach, and a camp like this with so many young guys in this camp is a great opportunity to be a teacher. How much fun is just being a teacher in this time of year for these young guys?
Well, that's what you do as a coach. I mean, you're here to teach, and there are not a lot of secrets in the NFL anymore. So the better that you can teach, I think, the better you can help enhance the ability of your players. So that's what we all try to do, and I think we all love it. I mean, we love having the guys back on grass. I mean, that's a good thing. It's just hard to teach the fundamentals of the game virtually. I mean, it's great that we have the tool. I'm not saying that, but it's a tough thing to teach the fundamentals that way.
Adam Teicher. Go ahead, Adam.
Hey, Andy, I just wanted to get your initial thoughts, your first week thoughts on guys like Creed Humphrey, Nick Bolton, Noah Gray, some of your younger guys, again, understanding that you aren't in pads yet.
Yeah, you know what, Adam, I've been impressed with them. They're smart. They're picking things up, and they're physical players. Not that we can. I mean, we're in shorts now, so I say that, but they look explosive, and so that'll become important once the season goes. But they're pounding through all this new stuff, and we're loading it up and throwing it at them, and they seem to handle it pretty good.
Let's go next to Tyrann Mathieu. Go ahead, Tyrann.
Coach, a couple of them kind of related. Just first of all, just what are the challenges you see for Orlando Brown going from a much more run-heavy scheme to yours that maybe favors the pass? And then you were talking about the depth of the offensive line, but it does seem like I think three of the guys that would be prime candidates on that right side are going to have to knock some rust off, right? Not having played. So I'm wondering if you're seeing that. Do you see the rust that's there? So just the Brown scheme and then the rust on the right side. Yeah.
So, well, Brown, this is what you'll find out with him as you guys get to know him a little bit more. He very coachable. Andy Heck's a phenomenal coach. So, and has been there and has played the position. So, it's great for Orlando fundamentally to work with Andy. And listen, he's had good coaches before, but in this situation for what we do, there's nobody better than Andy. So to learn from. And so I think just the initial footwork that you have to take, and he played half the season at left, so it's not that big of a thing. But the things we do in our offense, just a couple of the footwork things, he'll get down and they'll be second nature to him. So he's a nice addition. And then listen, there's going to be a battle on the right side, and there are a bunch of guys that can play, and we'll just we've always done this. We take the five best and throw them in there. And so we'll see how it all sorts out. Long right now, you talk probably the most rust that you'd think, and he stepped in and done a nice job. So, I mean, he's playing the right guard spot right now, but we know he also can play tackle, and he's jumped in there next to Remmers, and they've moved right along and done a nice job.
3 more, starting at the top with Sam. Go ahead, Sam.
Hey, Andy.
Right, sir.
Second straight year that you drafted a linebacker early, and Anthony Hitchens is sort of been your veteran there. So I'm wondering, what's your comfort level with him sort of being the guy that brings those young guys along, and how has he embraced that role?
Yeah, he's kind of the grandfather of the bunch and does a great job of communicating. And he knows, he's always in House's pocket there with him, and he's a very willing studier. He goes above and beyond to know what's going on, and he's very capable of communicating that. So and he's been great for the young guys. I think he does a heck of a job with that. He was great with Willie last year. He'll be good with the young guy this year. So should be. He doesn't. He knows that he's a good football player. He's very confident that way as a veteran.
Next to Matt Derrick. Go ahead, Matt.
Hey, Coach, you talked a little bit about the offensive line, but specifically on that left side with 2 newcomers, with Orlando and Joe. What is it, now that you've gotten them on the field and gotten a chance to work with them one-on-one, that you've learned about them and you've seen in them that maybe you didn't know when you acquired them?
Well, I mean, listen, they're doing the kind of the same things they were doing that we saw on tape, but I like the people, and I like their work ethic. So you never know about that until you get them. Now, the defense is running twists and they're blitzing, and so they're all working. That whole front's working through the communication process with one another as they look at different looks. And I think that liking each other, being able to communicate, being smart, all those things matter. And so I like watching that as they go through that process.
We'll go last to Nate Taylor. Go ahead, Nate.
Hey, Andy, good to see you.
All right, Nate, likewise.
I wanted to ask you about the defensive line. I know it's the first week of OTAs. Just what's your initial impression, given that you got veterans like Chris, but obviously a rookie Josh, you're kind of working in, obviously, Jaren in the middle.
Yeah, you froze up there a little bit, but I think I got you. Reid, I like. I mentioned before he doesn't spell his name quite right, but he sure plays right. And we're always talking about the offensive line, but that signing right there was a really good get, and I think will pay off for us in a real big way this season. It gives us some flexibility what we can do with Chris, and so it's I like that addition. I mean, you're talking about a Pro Bowl caliber player, and just plugging him in, and not much has been said about it. And I'm excited to see him once we kick this thing off.
Coach, we appreciate your time. Thanks for joining us.
Okay, thank you guys. Appreciate it.
All right, guys, we've got Tyrann Mathieu coming up next. Okay, Tyrann stepping up right now. There he is. All right. We'll start first with Sam McDowell. Go ahead, Sam.
Hey, Tyrann, how's it going, man?
Doing good. Blessed.
Wanted to ask you about obviously the tweet that you had sent out about maybe probably not being back here long term. Can you kind of go through just your mindset with all that right now?
I think first, I delete a lot of tweets, but if I'm a fan, I wouldn't put too much emphasis, on that. I think people that know me, they know where my heart is at. I can't control everything, so for me, it's just all about just trying my best to kind of focus on the things I can't control, and that's just coming to work every day, trying to make the dudes around me better.
Let's go next to Todd Lebo. Go ahead, Todd.
Hey, Tyrann, you mentioned you delete a few tweets. On something like that, after you sent that tweet, did you immediately delete it? Did someone say, hey, what are you doing there? How do you go through kind of editing yourself, and then do you kind of try to edit yourself before you send a tweet that maybe you don't want out there?
Yeah, I think, obviously sometimes you tweet things and, other people, reach out and tell you, hey, why, you shouldn't tweet things like that. But I think most of the times it's all me. Obviously some things shouldn't be said. Some things shouldn't be talked about. I think I'm a pretty open guy. I think I'm fair, as far as, showing people who I am. And, it could kind of work against you, sometimes, in this new social media world we live in.
Let's go next to Matt McMullen. Go ahead, Matt.
Hey, Tyrann.
Hey.
A lot of young DBs in your room, guys like Rashad, Bo Peep Keys. They're getting out there on the field this time. What are you expecting from them going forward here in the offseason program? And what have you noticed about their energy, their excitement level when you be back on the field?
Yeah, I think, for any young guy, you just want to see those guys take the next step in the system. I think, for a lot of them, things move fast. We got a pretty complex defensive scheme that we run. And so any guy that's going into his second or third year in the system, you would just hope that they take the necessary steps to kind of get better, whether that be communicating, whether that be showing up to work early, showing up to meetings early. You just want to see the young guys continue to grow and put themselves in a position to, to be successful.
Go next to Nate Taylor. Go ahead, Nate.
Hey, Tyrann, one guy I wanted to ask you about is Bashaud Breeland. I know he's still a free agent. Just how much have you talked to him, and what would it mean for you if the team and him are able to have another season together, given that he was sort of helping out, obviously, the young cornerbacks in a similar role that you have with the rest of the DB room? Yeah,
I mean, Breezy's to me, he's one of the more underrated cornerbacks in this league. Really felt like the last couple of years he's really helped us out a lot. Him and C Ward, really, manning their sides of the field, being able to play press man, bump and run, with elite receivers. So he's a guy that deserves, a lot of credit for what we've been able to do, defensively the last couple seasons. I try to keep a close relationship with all my guys. Me and Breezy's probably a little different. We talk more than others, but just really wishing him the best. I hope we can get him back here. But like I said, a lot of things aren't, in our control. I just try to continue to be a positive influence, in his life and just continue to encourage him no matter what.
Let's go next to Matt Derrick. Go ahead, Matt.
Hey, Tyrann, good to see you.
Hey.
I know it's early in this process and everything, but every team's a little bit different, and you've got some new faces this year. What is it that gets you excited about this defense? What is it that you see or maybe some areas where you guys can be better than even you were last year?
Yeah, I think, just talk about being better. I think we could be better in the red zone. I feel like we pretty much at the bottom of the pack, really in every red zone statistic. So teams are going to be able to put drives together on us. I think it's up to us. It's up to the players to really go out there and try our best to keep guys out of the end zone. I think that's going to give, our team, a greater chance to win, if we're able to kind of, make teams throw the ball in the end zone, instead of actually, running the football. And so, we've been harping on it. Coach Spags have been really harping on the details of it. And, but I think that's something that I would love to see us, really get better at going forward, especially during the season.
The three more will go right down the line, starting with Tyrann. Go ahead, Tyrann.
Tyrann, I know, just to go back to the tweets that you sent out and deleted, I'm curious, do you still feel kind of that way, or do you think that a deal can get done? If I'm not mistaken, the timeline on Chris Jones was later. It seems like that maybe you need a deadline to get a deal done. So are you still optimistic that an extension can be done? And is this maybe just one of the frustrating parts of the business that it doesn't get done when you want to get it done?
I mean, I think the negotiation process is, I think it's tough on anybody, especially a player. But, like I said, I try not to focus on it too much. I think I'm a fairly optimistic guy. I always look, I try my best to look out the bright side, of the window. But this is my third franchise. So I understand the business. I'm grown enough to understand it. I think I'm mature enough to understand it. And but I'm also mature enough to understand that, it's still a lot of work that I got to put in, that needs to be put in. And, just kind of let God handle, everything else.
Let's go next to Steve Walls. Go ahead, Steve.
Hey, what's happening, T?
Hey,
Hey, you've been in this league a little while, right? And
yeah.
you've had the opportunity to, have a season after a Super Bowl win, and now it's coming after a loss. Does this one make you hungrier, other than years past because of this last year's loss?
Yeah, I think anytime you lose, you have a bad taste in your mouth. It could be a Super Bowl, it could be week 2, week 9. I think anytime you lose a game, and you have to sit on it for a while, it could kind of stay with you for a while. But you just try your best to use it positively. Just try to dig deeper. Like we were talking about earlier, just trying to find new ways to get better. Whether that be individually or whether that be as a unit. So we got a lot of motivation right now. We got a lot of things that we feel like could get us back to that stage and then capitalize on it. So it's all about us putting that work in, really believing in each other and, helping each other to get better each and every day.
We'll go last to Pete Sweeney. Go ahead, Pete.
Hey, Tyrann, wanted to ask you about one of the tweets you didn't delete, and it's been recent tweets just about Charles Woodson and the inspiration he's providing you right now, late in your career. Why is that? And then from an aesthetic point of view, I know fans care about this. Do you have actual plans to potentially switch to 21 at some point?
I do. I'm hoping to switch to it next season. I think Charles he's always been a great mentor for me. He's always been somebody that believed in me, that always given me nuggets. And I think if people really able to look at Charles Wilson's career, it really was the back end of his career, that he really excelled and he really, won Defensive Player of the Year and won a Super Bowl. And so for me, that's motivation. I think a lot of people saying I'm getting old, and I look at a guy like Charles Woodson who played, 18 plus years at a high level. And, he seemed to get better and better, each and every year. So, Charles has always been a great friend of mine, a great dude. And I think just his story, it's giving me motivation, to continue going forward.
Tyrann, we appreciate your time. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Hold on one second, Orlando. Let me get you squared away here.
All right.
Okay, here we go. If you're ready, we'll get started with Pete Sweeney. Go ahead, Pete.
Hey, Orlando. We haven't talked to you since the trade. Just wondering how the first couple weeks of a Kansas City Chief has gone and how you've acclimated to some of the guys in the room and the offensive line as a whole.
It's been going great, man. It's been going great. It's different, obviously, with it being a new team for me, but a bunch of great men in this locker room, a lot of good leadership, a lot of men that played ball for a long time and been around the game. And I'm just being a sponge, soaking in as much as I can from, some of these older guys in this locker room and all the knowledge that they have and experience that they have and, things that they've been through, here in Kansas City or in the pros period. So it's been great, man. The team is taking me in. The coaches are taking me in. I'm just working every day.
Go next to Robert Rimson. Go to Robert.
Hey, Orlando. Andy kind of talked about you earlier and how you and Andy Heck have been talking a lot. What do you think of Andy, and what have you learned from Coach Heck so far?
Coach Heck is great, man. He's an incredible coach. He understands the X's and O's. He's played the game. He's been around the game for a long time, so he knows. He's super easy to get along with and learn. I've been in Baltimore for the last 3 years, so there's certain things. I guess you could say I'm wired a certain way on certain things, and I'm unwiring and learning his new techniques and certain things that he's teaching. I think is going to be incredible for my game.
Let's go next to Adam Teicher. Go ahead, Adam.
Hey, Orlando. When you talked to us last time, you told us how important your dad's influence is has been on your career, and just wanted to ask you, what would he think, first of all, of you not only getting drafted, but being drafted by one of his former teams when you did a couple of years ago, and now getting to play left tackle for a Super Bowl contending team?
Yeah, I think my dad would just be excited that I'm in the NFL, period. I think it would have been a similar situation, in Baltimore, although he would have been happy that it was a team that he played on. I could say the same thing for the Cleveland Browns, honestly. He loved that organization as well. But I think he would just be happy that, I'm in the league and I'm able to play at the highest level. And, I'm getting better each and every year. I know that, he'd be more excited about that as far as who I play for, I guess you could say.
Let's go next to Darren Smith. Go ahead, Darren.
Hey, Orlando. First of all, I like the little LL Cool J look. You're going to tell us about that. But more importantly, when you're in the room, have like Lucas Niang or some of the younger players come to you, Creed Humphrey, just come to you and just ask how you've adjusted from going to college to the NFL, and just like trying to get some advice from you, even though this is your first year in Kansas City, but you've been a Pro Bowl at both sides of the ball. Has Lucas Niang or anyone that the Chiefs are drafted or brought in come to you for advice?
Yeah, man, honestly, all of those young guys. And I'm just trying to do my part and be the best leader that I can be, be someone that they can lean on as far as for questions about the scheme, or really more so lifestyle and personal issues that you may deal with as a young player in this league. It's not easy, to make it into this league. It's definitely not easy to stay in it. And, my big thing, and the big thing that I emphasize to them, is the understanding that, this is what we do for a living, but, at the same time, you got to have fun with it. And, you got to enjoy it and understand that, once these pads come on, once the lights come on, man, we're going to be the most physical group in the NFL. And they're taking it in. They're taking in what Coach Heck is teaching, and, Coach Reid, and really just the system. Everyone's all ears. I think we got an incredible offensive line room, including the veterans that we have in there, and some of the older guys, and Mike and Kyle and Joe. It's an incredible room.
We got four more. We'll go right down the line, starting with Matt Derrick. Good, Matt.
Hey, Orlando. I know you've worn 78 for a while, which is retired in KC. I'm just curious, what went into the thought process and the decision making to go with 57? And do you understand the rareness to see a left tackle wearing that number?
Yeah, it's funny you say that. I feel like 57 gave me the opportunity to represent two men that had an incredible impact on my life, with that being Jamal Brown wearing 55 and my dad wearing 77 and 78. I just felt like it was an opportunity to, I would have got 75, but Mike had 75. So I was like, 57 is available. And, I just thought it was a great number. I definitely thought it was unique, but it definitely gives me the opportunity to represent those men.
Let's go next to Herbie Teope. Go ahead, Herbie.
Hey, Orlando, so many moving pieces with this offensive line. Obviously, you're new. Joe Tooney is new. Looks like he'll be working in the new center. How important is it to you, as a guy who's been in the league a while, these OTAs, to develop some sort of cohesion and understanding what the guys next to you are doing?
Very important, man. To me, especially up front, and maybe for quarterbacks as well, it's important to get that live timing against a real body, get that live timing against a real defensive end, the rush at the time, or the snap count, the system, all of those different things, man. I think that I'm at a point in my career where it's definitely these type of off seasons and being able to practice against live personnel, it helps me a lot. You know what I mean? Because I'm able to focus on things that, I may not have been able to focus on last year, and be able to craft, and I take this time to really just try to develop my game into a different way. That way I can hit the ground running here in June once we get out, and translate that all the way into camp, into the season. But man, it's really important.
Go next to Tyrann Mathieu. Go ahead, Tyrann.
Orlando talked a little bit to Coach Reid just about some of the nuances that maybe you've got to change, right? I know when he was very complimentary of the Baltimore coaching staff and that you were well coached there, but what are the nuances that are different in maybe a more run heavy versus a pass, or just the nuances of the different way that they want you to block? What are some of the things you're having to work on?
Man, you think you said it right there, with the, the adjustment to more true drop back passes. Just the understanding that, now I got to, play an actual chess game out there on the edge with a guy, because, we're going to have to do certain things a certain way. And, I'm going to do my best to manipulate all of my blocks to the best of my abilities and keep Pat safe. But, it's definitely a learning curve. It's a different system for sure. But, football is football. At the end of the day, once I get it down, I know it's over with.
We'll go last to Nate Taylor. Go ahead, Nate.
Hey, Orlando, I have two quick questions for you. What's the best part about Creed Humphrey as a just teammate going all the way back to college? And then secondly, what's it been like to get to know Chris Jones and to see him in this sort of setting so far?
Yeah, it's been great getting to know Chris, man. Chris is an elite talent, all pro level player. He's been really good for a long time. He gets paid like it, man. I got a ton of respect for him and his game. I enjoy working and going against him, man. That's something you don't get, every day unless obviously you play here or play, somewhere else with an elite rusher. And as far as Creed, man, Creed's incredible, man. Creed is someone that when I was my last year at OU, he was coming in as a freshman and he was a sponge. He soaked everything up, learned what he could, learned the system fast. He's very competitive and he loves football and, he likes being physical. And I think, those two things or three things are definitely going to help him excel to being an elite level center in this league, man. I definitely think that, he has all pro bowl potential. And, this system, this scheme is going to give him the opportunity to do it. And he's got the right mindset.
Orlando, we appreciate you taking the time. Thank you.
Yep, no problem.
All right, guys. We'll have Hitchens coming up next. We are waiting on Hitchens finishing up a lift, guys, so it'll be a few minutes here. All right, guys. Hitch is walking up now. Hey, Hitch, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can.
Perfect. We'll get started with Sam McDowell first. Go ahead, Sam.
Hey, Brad, I'll have a couple things here. Hitch, I asked Andy about you just mentoring the younger guys. This is the second straight year that you've had a rookie in that room. Does that role come naturally to you? Is that something you've kind of had to remind yourself to do?
No, it kind of comes natural. When I was younger, I had guys that I looked up to and taught me the ropes. And then, ever since then, I just been doing, my part, giving back to the game and young players and things like that. So honestly, I'm just being me, studying. They need help. They can ask. Sometimes I just give my advice. Sometimes, I'm just trying to teach them, the pros and the cons of playing linebacker and being in NFL. So I'm just like an older brother to all of them. They all family here, and just trying to get everybody to improve so we can be, as good as we can in our linebacker room as a defense and as a team.
You touched on it a little bit in that answer, but my second question was just, can you kind of describe what that entails? When you have a younger guy that's learning this playbook for the first time, being in the NFL for the first time, what are the specific things you're doing with those guys?
Yeah, I think it's just like extra work, just pulling to the side, either through text, in between periods, I don't know, just phone calls, just hanging out, and on off days, things like that, just talking ball. Everyone learns different. I know me and Nick right now, we're working on, he's not big on taking notes, so he's trying to put it all together with the notes and on the field and the walkthroughs and practice. So just trying to give him different ways that I learn, and maybe it can help him grow. So I'm just here to play the best ball I can and help everyone around me be the best player so we can, win the ultimate goal. That's the Super Bowl.
Thanks, Hitch.
Let's go next to Pete Sweeney. Go ahead, Pete.
Hey, Hitch, even in that answer, it seems, it's still all about the team and the team goals. And I know you've developed a very close relationship with Steve Spagnuolo. What is his and your goal for the defense in 2021? What do you want to see? Maybe something that take a step forward that you could do differently than maybe even last year?
Yeah, our number one thing right now is we fell short in the red zone last year. I think we was top 10 the year we won the Super Bowl, and then last year we were 32nd, if I'm not mistaken. So, that's the difference right there. You give 3 points up, set a 7, that's a 4-point swing right there. So, there was times where teams would get in the red zone 3 times and score three touchdowns. That's 21 points. We can easily cut that in half or less than half. So, we just working on that right now. We had 2 red zone days back to back the first 2 days right off the back. So we're working on that. And I think that's like right in our forefront of our mind right now is red zone. I'm sure it's going to transition to something else as the season gets on. But as of right now, we got to be better in the red zone. A lot of teams that get down there and run the similar plays. So we just need to be smarter. I think that's the word. We've seen the same plays from week 1 through the Super Bowl. So we did our offseason homework. We know we got some different things now, and we're going to improve. And that's our main goal is they get down there. Hopefully they don't, but if they do, give up 3 and not 7.
Let's go next to Nate Taylor. Go ahead, Nate.
Hey, Anthony, with that question and sort of watching yourself towards the end of last year, is there anything that you sort of made it a personal pride that you wanted to sort of either further develop or maybe even change something going into this year?
Are you talking about me individually or just okay.
Yeah.
Every year I'm just working on different things and just trying to get better. I'm not here to make a to Z leap. That's kind of being unrealistic right now. So I'm just trying to focus on the details, just footwork, hands, vision, formation recognition, just the details. I just want to be perfect in the pre-snap alignments and things like that. Usually when you're beat by alignment, the down's already over. So I'm just trying to work on the pre-snap, get even more detailed in my alignment, my stance, my pad level. Can't tackle right now, but running into bags and things like that. So yeah, me and House are working on it on the side, ball drills, footwork, just pretty much the basics, go back to square one and just the basics, tying up your shoes, taking the first step, just start all over every year from ground one.
Got time for 3 more. We'll go Todd first. Go Todd.
Hey, Anthony, I think last year when we talked to you at this time, you were outside your house, right? Trying to work out in the garage, doing that stuff. How much better does it feel to be in the building? You walked in, you didn't have a mask on. You guys are like back there all together. You made it through last year, but what's it been like to be able to do these things in person this time around instead of that last year?
Yeah, we get more interaction when we're around each other. And obviously you can't practice football unless you practice football. You can do all the running drills and linebacker drills and run on the track, but you get out here on day one and you're still tired and sore. So it's in order to practice football, you got to practice football. And we got a lot of guys on our team that love practicing and love doing the dirty work and getting in the weight rooms and being the team. So it's going to work out for us and benefit. We're going to benefit from this. Some teams are not, doing what we're doing, but that's okay. We're just here showing up and working. So it's different being in person because you can get more interaction, coach to player, player to coach. You can actually see walkthroughs, and as a team, you can see where we're at as a team. It's kind of hard doing that over Zoom.
Last 2, we'll start with Darren. Go ahead, Darren.
Hey, it's a good seeing you. I'm curious, you come from last year, you're coming off a Super Bowl win. This year, you're coming off from a Super Bowl loss. But what did you do, or how was your off season? What were you doing in the off season to better prepare you for this upcoming season? I see that you look a little bit leaner. I mean, are you dieting this off season, hitting the weight room? What are you doing, when the coaches and your teammates aren't around?
Yeah, I'm actually trying something different. To be honest, I am getting a little more lean. I'm gonna try to lean out a little more, spring ball, and then as camp comes and as the season comes, I can put the bulk and the muscle and getting that extra lift in. So yeah, I'm a little more lean. Obviously, we all know this is a spread type of offense, and a lot of guys are running crisscross, and Tyreek Hill's running down the field and things like that. So yeah, I got a little more lean, and I'm just watching the body fat. I mean, it's no secret. I am in year 8. I can't do what I did 3-4 years ago. So yeah, so I'm just trying to lean out, watch my diet, and just keep working. Try different things, and hopefully it works. For my body. Everybody's different, so. This is something different that I'm trying this year, is leaning more and then add the bulk as we, add bulk reps and practice and games and things like that.
And we'll go last to Adam Teicher. Go ahead, Adam.
Hey, Anthony, I got a couple things. First, just want to see how that's going for you. I know you guys haven't put on the pads or anything. It's real early. Just want to get your early impressions on how that part of it's going. And Brad, I'll have a second question as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of hard. We only had 3 days now. No predictions and none of that stuff right now. We're just diving in the playbook. It's our 3rd year in the system, so we're kind of ahead of the game with a lot of guys returning and things like that. So, I mean, we're just digging away, man. We're just taking it one day at a time and getting better, correcting ourselves, and good or bad or indifferent, man. We're just trying to improve. I mean, that's all you can do right now. You can't really get a win, in May or June. So we're competing against our offense, which is one of the best offenses in the league. So we get good work every day from them. So yeah, we're just trying to improve, man.
Okay. And also, you talked a minute about an emphasis this year on being better in the red zone.
Mm-hmm.
Other than emphasizing it and talking about it and maybe even working on it in practice, are the things you guys can do as a group to be better down there, whether that's with scheme or personnel or whatever that maybe you guys can implement this year, you think?
Yeah. First meeting Spags put up, if I'm not mistaken, I think there was 3 criteria that led to bad downs in the red zone. Some of them was physical. Some of them was just mental, not doing the blitz correctly or not running the correct coverage that he called. And some of them was scheme related. He said he put some on himself that, he made some bad calls as well. So for our coach to own up like that, we take pride in that. He's sitting there in front of the whole defense saying that there's some calls he could have caught better. But at the same time, we also, talking to ourselves that there's some things we could have did better as players. So yeah, we all got it in our forefront of our mind, and we know in order to get better at it, you got to work at it. Did we have perfect red zone days these last 2 days? No, not really. But there's things that we're seeing from our offense that we see around this league. So we're getting work at it in May and not wait until, week 1 or week 3 or 4. So yeah, I just think we all know that we was a 32nd team in the red zone. So yeah, we got some work to do, and it started on Monday or Tuesday.
Hitch, we appreciate the time. Thanks for joining us.
All right, thanks for having me. See you guys.
All right, guys. That is it for today. Let me hit our button here. If you guys have any questions, I'll answer what I can.